Curling now enters the Sports Weekend spotlight.
Super Bowl Sunday, but this is a main event. How dare they schedule the Super Bowl during that curling show?
And no kidding. But you know what? We should wrap the show right now because that opening was so darn good, wasn't it? I never tire of the shot of Mark Kennedy and Jules Ochar looking like they're birders in the binoculars as they scan the rocks. Good morning.
Hello, operator.
Hello. My biggest problem today is going to be drinking coffee with my new microphone that I'm super excited about. There we go. Watch this, Deb.
Wow, you are wired for sound.
And you, Devin, you look like you're going to safari today. You look wonderful.
Hey, I am going on a hunt for a win for Canada because don't they need it, Cole?
Well, they really do need it. I think it's just time for a whiteboard moment right off the top of the show because I know we're jam-packed. Big day with Canada playing ROC and Great Britain on the women's side. And Jenny Jones at 1 and 3. We're not used to seeing her there. We're also not used to seeing this statistic, 71.8% for Jennifer so far. She's last in the skips. Top skip is Japan. Switzerland leads the field. And then we've got Sweden playing really solid at 84.6%. Nicodine at 5 and 0. Great Britain top skip at 89%. And Canada suddenly in this log jam with ROC. I feel like ROC needs some sort of poem or something. I don't have it.
I don't know if you're ready to dance. You're rocking. We have a lot of energy. Good evening and good morning, good afternoon, whatever time it is. Curling fans tuning in, let us know where you're watching from. Yes, so Canada versus ROC call. You basically got to win them, don't you?
Well, you really do. And ROC, by the way, is an 0-4, which I'm totally surprised at because they looked great at last year's Worlds at the bubble. Jenny Jones is in a bit of an early hole at these championships at 1 and 3. Yep. Switzerland at 5 and 0, and Japan, they've won some really great games down the stretch when the pressure's on. But they're looking very strong. Yeah.
But look at all those teams that 2 losses, and Canada has yet to play the USA, Great Britain, ROC, Denmark. So listen, Jennifer Jones never quit.
She doesn't quit. It still is in her own hands. And talking to her yesterday in the mixed zone, she just said they're not going to stop curling till it's over. They're here to play. Right. She has been in these kind of jams before. She has won championships, so many championships in many different ways. She is not one to panic. However, there's just been some uncharacteristic, and we talked about this yesterday on the show, down the middle. Through Jocelyn and sometimes Caitlin. Having said that, they played great yesterday.
They did.
So they found their way, and it was a bad mistake, maybe even a bad call. We can hear from Joanne and Mike in a second. In the 8th end, when Jennifer sounded uncertain about, do I double peel? Do I need to get them both? Meanwhile, you're going, I don't know why you're not playing the out-turn tap. So she peeled, she missed. It set up then Alina Petz with a really awesome come around to the top of the forefoot. And then Jen had that slash. Who needs a telestrator? She had this. See, there's the run.
Yeah, it was a tough shot. Let's go to the experts. Joe, Bruce, Mike on Super Bowl Sunday, Super Sunday. The shirt is out. Joe is ready to go. Let's start with you. It seems like a must win at 1 and 3. What needs to change? You were tied 4-4 in the 8th. How many games do you win with Hammer in that position and it unraveled?
I think for Jennifer Jones, as she said in her post media, it was just a bad 0 on hers in the 8th end. They were in a great position. Mike talked about maybe they should have hit that open one on Caitlin's last, and then Switzerland doesn't guard. But regardless, they need to park this. Uncharacteristic miss. Sucks to have a 0 against a good team, and in a tight game like that, it's ball game, right? But they played well in the first half. We saw great play from Jocelyn. She was connecting on all those run backs and really putting the team in a good position. Switzerland played great as well. So you take the positives from that and you move forward with it, because I would say that it's getting better, and it's just a matter of closing it out now. So whatever happened there with Jen, if it was a mental lapse or missed pre-shot, or she wasn't quite buying into it, I'm sure she would have debriefed that with the team, and they'll make sure that moving forward they'll find that intensity, and I like their chances against ROC.
And Joe, it might not be like this. It might be like we're like
it doesn't have to be. Perfect.
It doesn't.
It's
it's like your son's snakes and ladder game, isn't it? Sometimes you climb that ladder and then you slip all the way back down with a hard loss. Mike, what are you thinking this morning? Deep thoughts?
Yeah, I think the same thing with Joanne was saying. They did all the hard work to get tied with the hammer playing 8, and Colleen, the joys of skipping. Some days you just cost your team a game, and that's what happened with Jen. 2 shots and 8, and all of a sudden they're down 2. Like, all that momentum, all that hard work kind of got put away with 1 shot or 2 shots, really. But I think sports psychologists will say you did a great job all the way through, right up until the last shot in 8, and they just need to close the door. I mean, it was a must-win philosophically yesterday. It's a must-win mathematically today, and we've seen Jennifer Jones win Scotties where she had to reel off 6 or 7 or 8 wins in a row. So this is kind of she can draw on that. I don't think she's going to get too flustered. The moment won't overwhelm her, is what I'm trying to say. She'll be able to stick to the process and kind of work their way through. But they've got to still run a bit of a gauntlet. They got ROC, who's due. You've got Eve Muirhead again this evening, Beijing time. So it's a full day. And but the good news is, as you pointed out, it's in their own hands. They don't need any help from anyone else. And I like the way they played yesterday. As I said, Jocelyn was great. Caitlin held their own. Funny, Jocelyn, she curled 93 and Esther curled 97. It's hard. That's the type of level of play we're talking about here in the women's field. So it's just tough. But I thought they did a great job yesterday. And as a skip, I feel for Jen. It's one of those games I'm almost over 1998. It's 25 years ago. So it's one of those things as a skip you just remember, right? But Jen's good. She's played enough times in big games that she'll be able to as Joe said, just park it and move on.
Bruce, you always have sage advice and wisdom for us. What do you have for us tonight?
Wow, no pressure whatsoever. I will say this entire schedule is tough, but Jennifer Jones has gone through the toughest part of a tough schedule. She started off with the 3 medalists from 4 years ago, and then she played Switzerland, the 2-time world champs consecutively. So if there is an easy part of the schedule, easy is the wrong word. It is easier. It is coming up, and her chance to run the gauntlet now, I think, is strong. And Devin, regarding the attire, you look like you're ready to chase Bengals or Rams tonight on some sort of Super Bowl shirt, my friend. Very nicely done.
What about my operator look, Bruce? What about me as the operator?
Colleen, you and I are old enough to remember Jim Crochet.
I was saying, Bruce, you and I are on the same page. It's kind of trippy because I was telling the youngins, producer Soph and Devin, about Jim Crochet.
Bad Leroy Brown. Yeah.
Oh, that was he was great, wasn't he? Okay, let's move on. I talked to John Schuster in the mix zone yesterday, and he was very much saying, Mike, what you said. One of you said that he's through the tough part of the schedule. He played all the ringleaders right off the top, so he is not afraid of his 3 losses. So he kind of is just kind of going about his business. But
that was John Schuster said that.
Yeah, Schuster said that yesterday. Just that he knew his rough stuff was on. Canada versus Italy, and when I talked to Gushue, I said, "Well, you remember 2006?"
True.
I like to bring up the past, 1998, 2006. When you're as old as us, Mike, we got a lot of stuff.
Seems like yesterday, yeah.
But what about Italy and Canada, Dan?
Well, they got the first win yesterday, so that will bode well for them. But I think Team Gushue's looking very, very strong. But don't take Italy too lightly. we were joking in the booth the last couple of days. Where's that Team Italy you're talking about? They hadn't won a game yet, but they finally did, and they looked pretty good doing so. And they will be highly motivated to beat Canada because they still mathematically are in it as well. If they can get to 5-4, they probably feel they have a chance. But yeah, I'd like to see Team Gushue just kind of they did all the right things yesterday. They kind of got out to a nice strong start. Got a little help from Schuster in the second end, but for the most part, they were just themselves. They played well, and yeah, I look for them to continue.
Okay, so some quick last thoughts, guys, because we have a jam-packed show today, and you guys, I think you have 9 hours of curling coverage ahead. So some last quick thoughts. Bruce, this game against ROC, and then, of course, the Italian game. What should we watch for early in the game on the heels of the 8th and 9th sort of collapse yesterday?
I think consistency.
Yeah.
Let's just look for some consistency, good play up the middle. And Jennifer Jones is going to be calm and take her deep breaths and figure this out. With regards to Gushue, I really liked yesterday. They got back to they're never light on the ice, but when they're really good, they talk a lot and they're just analyzing everything, and they love the analytics and the numbers. They were back to that yesterday, so they seem strong too. So it's going to be this 9 hours is just going to fly by. It's going to be great.
Right. So,
I heard a rumor that they're touching up the rocks. Colleen, are you on that?
I wanted to break that news when you guys were gone, but let me give you the breaking news. No, I'm only kidding. Yeah,
I might have to tweet that now.
I had
clear.
I had a great conversation with Hans. Yeah, the rocks have been touched, so that'll be a little bit of an experience for these first off the ground curlers this morning.
Colleen, can I ask you something? When they do that, does that render totally moot all of the rock work the teams have done up until this point?
No, and I think they finally have it down to a fine science. I'll tell you, in the olden days when they would touch up the rocks, you didn't know what you were going to get. But you will see more curl. I don't know that on the hits you're going to see it. This ice is straight on hits, and I think when I watched them touch up the rocks the first time, it was a real gentle, like that. So it's not going to be right like the olden days.
These are all very technical terms.
Yeah.
By the way,
I'm curious about what the ice is going to be like with the rocks being touched up. I'm curious about with all the snow if we're going to see some frost. Me, like the front ender in me right now is like, what are we going to get this game? Team Jones, Team Gushue, they know what they need to do. They're going to have to catch on if it's different, and I'm looking forward to the games.
Great stuff, guys. We're going south of the border to talk to Tyler George. So that's coming up right next. You guys,
the humidifiers are off, by the way. Weather report. It's clear, but melting.
We had a side bet with Tyler George, the Canada-US game. There are a bunch of people were doing side bets across the border to raise money for the House of Heart. So that Canada-US game, there was viewing parties all around U.S. and Canada. So I got $20 out of his, or $40 out of his brother-in-law. So tell him to make sure he pays up.
He's listening. We're going to go right to that.
I didn't get it. The House of Hearts got it.
Oh,
it was all
leave Micah. Okay, awesome.
It was good.
Outstanding. Have a good night, morning, afternoon.
All
Great stuff, guys. Let's bring in Tyler George and let's keep things moving as guiding the coverage down south. Tyler, wonderful to see you. Heard it there from Mike. How are you? And what are you thinking about down there as you watch all the Olympic coverage unfold?
Oh, this is a lot of fun. I can see why you guys do this stuff. I haven't missed a shot all week, and it's so fun being involved in the event with fantastic company like NBC, and hoping to keep a foot in the door and maybe do some more of this stuff in the future. But it's great. I love it.
Nice. And Tyler, what are your thoughts as you're watching Team Schuster here and the memories of 2018 and that unbelievable win when you guys maybe thought you were out of it and then just kept on winning?
Yeah, it's kind of starting to look like deja vu from 2018, but that's really nothing different from what we did in the years prior to the Olympics too. I think after 5 games in the 3 World Championships that we played in, we were 2-3 in all 3. And I think after that in the round robin, we were like 17-1. So, we're used to being in that spot. So when we were 2-4 at the Olympics, it really wasn't a big deal based on what we'd been through in the World Championships. So when they got to 2-3, it was just kind of like, well, if they're going to make the run, it's going to happen now because this is where they always seem to end up. And their schedule to this point, they've already played Canada, Great Britain, and Sweden. The big game is going to be the next one against the Swiss. If they can win that game, then they have Italy and Denmark for their last two, and a very good chance of getting to 6-3, which I think would probably get them in the fours.
Tyler, I always love your perspective. Of course, how Canadian curling fans can be. Jennifer Jones at 1-3. I wonder, from an Olympic champion from the United States perspective, what's it like to see Canadian curling fans and the conversation unfold when the conversation is Canada isn't the dominant powerhouse in this game anymore?
Yeah, it's been a slow climb, I think, for the rest of the world to get to this point. I think any country would say that it takes a little extra meaning when you take one off of Canada. We always felt like if we got one off Big Brother up north, it was a big win for us. But it's a great thing for curling that the rest of the world is catching up the way that they are. And it's unfortunate that Jennifer and teams like Chelsea Carey's teams from Worlds and Rachel in the Olympics in 2018, they have to bear the brunt of all that criticism because of expectations. And it's a big burden. It's a heavy burden for those teams. And more and more you hear Canadian players now talking about how this is just going to be the norm and we have to get used to it. Not saying that they don't expect to win, but that you shouldn't be shocked when these other countries are giving them good games and winning championships, and Canadians, for whatever reason, in any given tournament don't end up on the podium. That's just the way it's going to be. And it's not like the teams aren't as good as they used to be. It's just that the rest of the world is that much better. And that's a great thing for curling. It's just so much tougher for Canadian teams to have to deal with all that pressure. I really feel for them then.
Yeah, it has made it more exciting to watch all of the games across the board. But Tyler, right quick, what did you guys say to yourselves and to each other in the locker room back in 2018? In every single game you stepped on the ice, once your slow start, just kept on winning. What was your mantra or philosophy?
We had talked for 4 years as a team about every single game that we played was with 2 games in mind, and that was the medal round at the Olympics. So we really tried to stay in the same routines throughout that 4-year period where we'd have the same meetings. We'd answer the same questions. Like, we'd always talk about what are our goals for this tournament? What are our goals for this game as individuals and as a team? And it does get monotonous, when you're on the 3rd weekend out of 4 and middle of nowhere in Manitoba and everybody wants to be home. You still have those same meetings and the same conversations about setting goals. So you always feel like you're progressing as a team, no matter what happens in the tournament, win or lose. And then you get to the Olympics and you're sitting in the locker room, for the gold medal game, and you start asking each other the same questions. What's our goals for this game? And you kind of have that aha moment that's like, that's why we've been doing this all this time. It's just another game. It's the same thing. And we felt so comfortable taking the ice for that game. And I think anybody that watched, you don't have to know anything about curling to see the body language of the two teams, that Nicholas's guys were kind of tight. We were loose and ready to play. And if somebody told you one of these teams is the number 1 ranked team in the world and this should be their coronation, and the other one is the fledgling underdog on a Cinderella run, you would have thought the roles were reversed by the body language. But that came down to preparation, just staying in those same routines. And it certainly didn't hurt that we had a very good record against Nicholas too, and we were confident playing against him. But really, yeah, when you have that moment in the locker room, you know how big the game is, but just realizing it's just the same thing we've been doing all this time. We're having the same meetings, the same conversations. And that was a big problem for me early in my curling career, with treating big games like big games and not just playing like you normally would. So I think the biggest reason why we were able to get on top of the podium was because we were more mentally prepared for that situation. And we'd been doing that for 4 years. So I think we won 3 tournaments the year that we won the gold medal, and one was the trials, one was Continental Cup, and one was the Olympics. That was it. But that's what we were prepping for. That's the only thing that mattered to us.
Well said. I hope every junior coach and every junior curler heard what you said, because they do get tired of those same questions.
It matters, yeah.
Tyler, I think you might have a future in this broadcasting thing.
I'm hoping so. I got a foot in the door. I got to start. I'm hearing some good things. I really love it. It's so much fun to continue to be around the sport, you know, and obviously, Colleen, you know, we still have access to all our friends and, you know, former opponents and teammates that, you know, we can get good quotes and interviews wherever we need them, which helps a lot for, you know, these companies that are hiring us. So we have value in that. But yeah, I just really enjoy, you know, being able to talk about the sport without competing, and in the same things that we've been doing as ambassadors off the ice and promoting the sport and speaking engagements and appearances for curling clubs. Now we get to tell the world about why we love the sport. And when you enjoy it in the broadcast and people know that you're having fun with it and they see your love for the sport, then they realize why we love it as much as we do. And having this opportunity to do this for the Olympics for NBC is the greatest opportunity you can have to do that.
Wow.
Really.
You wear your gold medal today?
It's back at the hotel right now. I had to bring it along for the previous stop I had before I got out here in Columbus, Ohio. So if I show up without that thing for any appearances, speaking engagements, they just send me home. I could probably send the medal home.
Well, I don't know about you, but I would wear that thing grocery shopping or wherever I go.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's been on so many necks now that the ribbon is almost completely torn off. I'm sure you've seen Jamie Korab's that's been all over the planet. Like, that thing's torn to shreds. Mine's catching up real quick already.
Right.
Oh, that's so great. That's great.
Awesome.
You have a beautiful broadcast voice too, by the way, Tyler.
Thank you. That matters. You know, I'm
It
trying
does.
to bring
We
some
want
bass
you-
to it. So
We want you back on this show, so we'll keep
Yeah.
the
It's a
compliments
great
coming.
voice.
good. Yeah, please go on Twitter and say those things. That helps me a lot.
Outstanding, Ty. Wonderful to see you. Have a great rest of the Olympics, and we'll touch base. Hopefully, we can have you back on.
Thank you, Devin. Thanks, Colleen. Take care.
Bye. See you, Tyler. Oh, that was really so many words of wisdom in there. And I hope other people are listening to the preparation you need about not looking at this as the biggest show in the world. Rather, it's still just the game you play.
Let's get more words of wisdom from Caitlin's mom, the curling mom, 3-time Olympic mom, Cheryl Lawes, who, of course, has been watching all of this and is decked out and ready to go. Cheryl, how are you?
Love it. Oh, moo. I love that. A triple moo.
I got my
Mother of
triple
Olympia.
moon shirt on.
Oh my gosh, that's a rare thing that
It is.
not many mothers. Good for you. What are you liking from Caitlin and the girls so far?
Oh, it's been a grind for them, but I know that they'll want to keep chugging away there and hanging in. It's as everyone say, all the world is caught up to us, and it's just a hard old grind these days. And COVID has not helped us. I'm not sure about all the other countries, what restrictions they had, but I know here in Canada, here in Manitoba, we've had a lot of restrictions and a lot of, you couldn't go anywhere, you couldn't do anything. The girls couldn't practice. Caitlin lives literally down the street from me, and it was the closest I got to her was almost like skip the dishes. I would make up some dinner and then drop it on her doorstep, hit the doorbell, and run to the end of her driveway. So it's just a whole new way of having to deal with it. And it's sad that all these Olympians that have worked so hard for the past 4 years and longer, years and years, and to have to go through this, and you hope that this isn't going to be their memory of how many COVID tests they've had. Like, I've asked Caitlin, and she said, I know it's way over 40 COVID tests. And I'm not sure in what time period that was even in. Probably in the last 2 years, it's way more than that.
Yeah.
And I've had 3 tests, and I know it's not fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
And difficult too to not have family members here, because I know you haven't missed anything.
Yeah. I mean, I think of all the times that we got to at least give the girls a hug. And I think of, like, I even went to Japan one time for their Worlds, and I was the only parent there. And to have that mom hug, and in Saskatoon, I was the only mom there. And I was waving to the girls over the boards, get over here, get over here. I said, you guys need a mom hug. And I know Caitlin knows my whistle, and I could whistle in that gall darn rink no matter where. And I remember hearing over the mic, because I was listening to earphones, and she said to John Morris, "That's my mother," like this.
Oh.
She knew that that was my whistle.
Yeah. Hopefully
And
she
you
hears
can't
Ann Merklinger's here, Cheryl, and she yells Canada, and you're going, okay, Ann is trying hard to be the mother here, which is kind of nice.
I
Okay.
used to curl with Ann in Ottawa.
Oh.
And we were in the Super League and stuff together, and her and her brother Bill curled with Keith and I in the mixed and stuff like that. They were invited to our wedding, Bill and Ann and Ann's husband and stuff like that. So Ann and I go way back, and so Ann better be that mom hug for those girls.
No kidding.
Well, she can't get near them either,
I
Cheryl,
know.
but she sits up there and she yells, "Go Canada!" And it makes me proud to hear it, because it's a very quiet arena.
Yes.
What a great story that was, Cheryl. Thanks. Devin, go ahead.
Cheryl, wonderful to see you. I see the Canadian flag behind you. Is that special Canadian flag?
That is the special Canadian flag that flew
Tell
on
us.
Parliament Hill I've got the note here. It flew on January 5th, 2004. But it goes back even way before that. I had worked for the federal government, and I only saw this email come out once in all the years that I was there, that you could put your name down and apply to get the flag that was flown on Parliament Hill. And it said it could take a while. It took so long that I literally, forgot all about it, because I actually wrote the email on September 30th, 2001. And I never heard anything until 2004. And I happened to be one of the lucky ones to get that flag. And when it arrived in the mail, Caitlin just said, "What are you going to do with that, Mom?" And I says, "I'm taking it to the Olympics." She says, "Oh yeah, right." She was only about 14 years old.
Wow.
So that flag means a lot. So today I crawled up on my little ladder and put it up in my kitchen.
The flag is flying again. Are you feeling like the tides are about to turn, Cheryl?
Oh, I sure hope so. They are a real dig deep type of team, and they're gritty. And so let's pray that tonight's the night, and they go and get. I would love to see them get a great big lead and bring out Lisa and give Dawn a rest and just have some fun with it tonight.
That's
So
nice.
here's hoping.
Yeah, hoping and praying, and with this team, you've watched them more than anybody. They have a history of being able to always turn it on, so it'll be fun to watch.
Yes.
We can't let you go. We can't let you go without that whistle, because all of Canada needs to hear that whistle. Get them going, Cheryl.
I'm getting rusty.
That is a skill.
And the good part is I don't have to stick my fingers in my mouth.
Yeah, in COVID times, I don't know we're allowed to do that anymore, are we? See, we all need to learn to whistle like Cheryl.
Awesome.
So thank you for being with us again. We love having you here, Moo Moo Moo. Triple
Thank you
moo.
for asking me. It's always a treat to talk to you both, and cheer hard.
We'll be cheering
Yep.
hard.
Enjoy it, Cheryl. Away we go. Get this thing on a roll.
Thank you.
Okay.
Lovely. I'm picturing her going up that ladder to hang the Canadian flag.
Colleen,
Awesome.
of course, the Super Bowl is taking place, and I joked on Twitter before we went live that the halftime show was a Gushue Girls. So here we go, because haven't we learned to love the Gushue Girls? And here they are.
Yay!
Yay! Canada!
Wonderful
away.
to see you.
Yeah, it is wonderful to see.
Great to see you too.
We've become used to seeing those pink shirts spelling Gushue at the Briar. And Abby Pond, who's a regular, and she's knit us socks and shawls for the show. She wants to know if you're going to be at the Briar having beer with the nuns this year, but no.
Oh, we'd love to, but it's not in the cards this year.
Not in the cards.
Not in the cards, but you're going to be cheering. Tell me, how are you? How is everyone feeling? It's been anxious times. Oh, me nerves, right?
All right. How are we feeling?
It's been tense.
Yes.
Still feeling really positive.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
They're going to go.
But we're together. Yeah.
Do you guys get together to watch the games and wear your pink shirts? And are you superstitious about those pink shirts?
I don't think we're superstitious, but we get together and wear them and cheer together.
Except for the 2:35 in the morning games.
Right.
So we sort of message each other. We have a group and we stay in our own little beds and message.
Nice.
So we've had the chance to see each other over all the years in a bunch of different places. Am I correct in that the Gushue Girls came to life in St. John's? Is that right, or way before that?
Ottawa. Yeah. Actually, the reason that we are Gushue Girls is all down to Vic Browder, because we went to the Briar in Ottawa wearing shirts with Gushue, and he spotted us in the stands and dubbed us the Gushue Girls.
Yeah. The St. John's. That's the St. John's.
Yeah, that's the St. John's Club.
How about that? How about that? What a time that was. It really set everything on a different orbit, didn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we are at times are on a different orbit.
Yes,
when you hear us more.
Yes, you.
What's in the mug? What's in the mug?
It's on me now.
Just water. Okay.
Why do I not like
after? We're gonna have a drink after.
Right. Okay.
I think they can have a drink after. But what do you love about being a fan, especially when you've done these different Briars? Because it kind of does bring a lot to the curlers, doesn't it? What do you love about it?
Well, we just love supporting our team. They're a very great team from a small province, and we're proud of them as can be. And we're really happy to cheer, aren't we, girls?
Yes,
for sure.
Go, Canada, go!
Okay, I have a hard-hitting journalism question. Are we missing the first you or the last you?
Right here.
The first you.
Unfortunately.
Right. But you're all together. What are we how are you going to be watching tonight? Another big one against Italy.
Well, we will be watching, but not together necessarily.
That's the middle of the night.
Now, when is the gold medal game? 2:30 in the morning. We haven't discussed that yet.
Well, come on, you got to give it 1,000% then.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to take one for the team and have no sleep.
Definitely.
Great.
Lots of sleep.
Well, you brought a lot of color to the stands when you're there, and I think the more we see a lot of this now in curling. Not like the Gushue Girls, but it's great to see.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
We've loved it too.
Yeah, lots of fun.
I bet.
Yeah, it really has brought you all together, hasn't it? What are some of the highlights for you guys? What moments sort of stand out throughout all of this?
Well, I'll tell you the truth, Devin, that Briar in St. John's, meeting you was a highlight. If you remember the reason why, that little article about the perhaps inappropriate responses of some of the fans. And I texted you a little message and boom, you came over in the stands to talk to us, to tell us that it certainly wasn't us.
I remember that. That was such a time.
Yep.
And for me, it was really the St. John's Briar that sent this, into a whole different level as well. But the fans were so passionate and call. I don't know what you think of this, but I think curling needs more of that. We do. The arena to be electric, right?
Yeah, and it has been great to see. We've got the nuns that come and all of that sort of stuff, and I just also think, sociables. I think that especially when you're from the East Coast and we're so used to being told you're not good enough or somehow.
Exactly. Exactly.
And it's a shock when New Brunswick's Andrea Crawford is playing.
Yes. Oh, yes.
We get so sick and tired of this idea that the only great curlers are from Ontario West. And we have so much depth and talent. And your junior program in Newfoundland, Devin's just getting tired of my rants on this, but that junior program at the Halle Valley Calais Curling Club is so strong. I curled there. But what Gushue's done is he's created this dream for not just everybody in Newfoundland and Labrador, but the entire Maritime provinces has wannabe Gushues. That if he can do it, they can do it. For me, it was Jack McDuff when he won the Briar.
Wow.
Lunenburg, Nova Scotia originally.
I was at the stadium when they came down with their victory parade that Friday.
Oh, for Macduff, you're that old. You look so young. Anyhow, for me, Macduff's win just made it possible that maybe this could happen. And so here, Brad Gushue's done the same thing, and the Gushue Girls are following along too. So it's awesome.
Awesome.
Well, we are missing you, no doubt, and we can't wait to watch this unfold. I know you ladies are going to be rocking, and I cannot wait until we're all in the same place watching curling together again.
Fill those cups up with something more than coffee. Have one for Devin and I.
Exactly. Let's get a cheer, and let's send this Gushue team on their way.
Go, Canada, go! Go, Canada, go!
Love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Great stuff. I love this game. I love this game. I love curling. I love the fans, Call.
I know you do. You really do. And you're right about that St. John's Briar. It just was so magical. That building, that scene, the craziness of Brad and the boys winning there. And you were there for it all. And people fell a lot in love with you, Devin. So that's great.
And for the record, I will never get tired of your rants. I think your voice in the Eastern Canada curling landscape is massively important, Call, because at the end of the day, it's the grassroots curling that matters, and we need to get back to that.
Well, absolutely. Amen to that. I mean, it's just been the depth and breadth of what makes the sport so strong in Canada.
Right.
Is that grassroots that from coast to coast we come together because of this game, what it brings to us, not the wins and losses, but really the friendships and camaraderie. So this is what's so important.
Outstanding. We have 3 big games for Canada. It starts at about 23 minutes from now. I know you're going to be ringside, Call, as you've been throughout the Olympics, bringing us all the action. Canada versus ROC, 8 p.m. Eastern. Got to get on a roll. Then Gushue and the boys take on Italy at 1 a.m. And then if you're still with us or waking up or whatever you're doing, Canada, Jennifer Jones versus Eve Muirhead at 7 a.m. Eastern. Last thoughts, Call?
I see Canada on the ice right now. By the way, they're watching ROC practice. They're going to be throwing red rocks, wearing red. I like that vibe already.
Oh, that is the most important update you could give us. And of course, the papering
watch the
of
rocks. The papering of the rocks. Yeah. Awesome. Love you, Jeff. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Is it Valentine's Day in Canada yet? I don't know.
No, we're getting there. The day of love is coming.
Gonna give you all a hug for everybody that's watching us on that curling show. We love you. And thanks, producer Soph. See you again tomorrow.
That's a wrap. Enjoy the games.